Somewhere right now, two strangers are walking toward each other. Neither one knows the other's story. Neither one knows what the other is capable of. And yet, within seconds, they will do something extraordinary. They will reach out. They will touch. They will let a stranger's fingers close around their own. Every single day, millions of people do this without a second thought. Business empires rise on it. Wars end because of it. Presidents shake it before cameras. Athletes shake it after battle. Neighbors shake it over fences. But stop and ask yourself, why this? Why not a bow? Why not a wave? Why not simply speaking the words, "I trust you"? Why do we hand a stranger the one thing that could hurt us most? Our own hand. The answer isn't polite. It isn't ceremonial. It reaches back thousands of years, to a world where reaching out your hand wasn't a courtesy at all. It was a risk. It was a test. It was quite literally a gamble with your life. And to understand how that gamble became a global ritual of trust, we have to go back to a time when every stranger you met might be the last person you ever saw. Picture a road. Not a highway, not a paved street. A dirt path cutting through open country, thousands of years before street lamps, before police, before any notion of safety as we know it today. Now picture yourself walking that road alone. There is no way to call for help. There is no camera watching. There is no law enforcement patrolling the horizon. There is only you, the open land, and whatever or whoever is waiting around the bend. In this world, danger wasn't the exception. It was the baseline. Ancient life ran on a brutal, unspoken rule. Assume every stranger is a threat until proven otherwise. Because very often they were. Weapons weren't locked away in cabinets or hidden in drawers. They were worn, carried, strapped to the body like a second skin. A knife tucked into a belt, a blade sheathed at the hip, a club resting in a loose grip, ready to rise in half a second. In many ancient societies, walking outside unarmed wasn't brave. It was reckless. It might even get you killed. And here's the detail that changes everything. Almost all of it, the reaching, the striking, the drawing of a blade, happened with one hand. The right hand. Think about that for a moment. The right hand wasn't just a hand. It was a weapon, the tool of violence, the instrument that could end your life in an instant. So when two strangers crossed paths on that same dangerous road, their eyes didn't go to each other's faces first. They went to the hands. Because in a world like this, a face could lie. A smile could hide intent. Words could be a distraction while the real move was already loading. But the hand, the right hand, that was the truth. That was the tell. That was the difference between walking away and never walking again. So imagine the tension. Two strangers closing distance on that same narrow path. Hearts pounding, muscles tight, every instinct screaming the same ancient question. Is this person about to kill me? There was only one way to lower that tension even slightly. Only one gesture that could buy a few seconds of peace. Show the hand. Show it empty. Raise it. Open the fingers. Let the other person see clearly, unmistakably, that there is no blade, no club, nothing but skin and bone. It was a primal signal, older than language itself. I am not here to end you. And for a moment that worked. An open hand meant a person had made themselves vulnerable on purpose. It meant they were choosing, in that exact instant, to disarm. But here's where the story gets darker. Because showing an empty hand required something enormous, trust. And trust, in this world, was not something you could afford to give freely. One mistake, one lowered guard at the wrong moment could cost you everything. Betrayal wasn't just possible. It was common. Alliances shifted overnight. Strangers turned to enemies without warning. Even a raised, empty hand could be a trap. A moment of false calm before a hidden strike. So ancient people faced an impossible problem. They needed a way to prove peaceful intent that couldn't be faked. Something stronger than simply showing a hand and hoping for the best. Something that demanded both people commit together at the same time to vulnerability. Because here's the unsettling truth. An open hand can still snap shut in an instant. A visible palm can still turn into a fist. Seeing an empty hand told you what a stranger wasn't holding right now. It told you nothing about what they might do next. And so, somewhere in that ancient, blood-soaked world, humans stumbled onto a terrifying realization. A realization that would change the course of human interaction forever. Showing your hand wasn't enough. You had to give it away. So there they stood. Two strangers. Two open palms. And still somehow not enough. Because an open hand could close. A visible palm could become a fist in the time it takes to blink. Showing emptiness was a start, but it was fragile. It was temporary. It was a promise with no way to enforce it. Somewhere in that ancient high-stakes world, someone made a decision that would ripple across thousands of years of human history. Instead of simply showing the hand, they reached out and took it. Think about how radical that moment actually was. Two people, each capable of ending the other's life in seconds, choosing to close the distance completely, choosing to let their weapon hand, the one hand built for striking, stabbing, gripping a blade, be swallowed inside the grip of someone they barely knew. This wasn't politeness. This was a controlled act of mutual surrender. Because here's the brutal genius hidden inside that simple grasp. If your right hand is locked inside someone else's grip, it cannot draw a weapon. It cannot strike. It cannot reach for anything hidden at your side. And the same is true for them. In that single motion, both people disarmed each other, instantly, physically, undeniably. No more guessing. No more hoping the other person's calm expression was real. The grip itself was the proof. And some historians believe the danger didn't stop there. Picture the fashion of the ancient world. Long sleeves, loose robes, garments that could easily hide a slim blade against the forearm. Some researchers argue that the shake wasn't just about the hand, it was about the arm. A firm clasp, followed by a slight pull or shake, could dislodge anything hidden in the fabric. A concealed dagger sliding free. A blade clattering to the ground before it ever had the chance to be used. Now this theory is debated. Not every historian agrees it was the primary purpose. But even as a possibility, think about what that means. This wasn't a gentle custom born from friendliness. This may have been a survival mechanism, a security check performed with nothing but human hands, refined over generations of life and death encounters. A gesture engineered, consciously or not, to save lives. And once this act proved it worked, it didn't stay hidden in dangerous back roads and tense encounters between wary travelers. It started to climb. It started to matter. Look at the art that survives from the ancient world, and you'll find something remarkable. On carved stones from ancient Mesopotamia, you'll see figures clasping hands, not in casual greeting, but in scenes loaded with meaning. Alliances, treaties, moments where two powers, two rulers, two forces that could have destroyed each other, chose instead to bind themselves together with a single gesture. This wasn't small talk. This was diplomacy carved into stone so it would outlast the people who made it. Travel further and you'll find it again in ancient Greek art. Handshakes appearing on carved reliefs and vessels, often connecting gods, warriors, or citizens in acts of agreement and mutual respect. Some scholars point to these depictions as symbols of equality, two figures face to face, neither one bowing, neither one kneeling. Just two hands meeting at the same level. Stop and feel the weight of that for a second. In a world obsessed with hierarchy, kings above subjects, gods above mortals, masters above soldiers, the handshake quietly suggested something dangerous, something almost rebellious. Equality. No one forced to lower their head. No one forced to expose their neck or drop to their knees. Just two hands meeting eye to eye, wrist to wrist, as if to say, right now in this moment we are the same. That idea alone was enough to make the gesture spread. Alliances between rival cities began to close with a handshake. Peace agreements between former enemies were sealed the same way. Warriors who had spent years trying to kill each other on the battlefield would, in the aftermath, Grip hands as a signal that the fighting was over for now. And this is where the story shifts from survival into something else entirely. Because a gesture that began as a desperate safety check between frightened strangers was slowly transforming into a symbol. A symbol of trust. A symbol of recognition. A symbol powerful enough to end wars and seal fates. Think about what that means. The same motion that once protected a lone traveler on a dangerous road was now being used to bind entire nations. The same grip that once proved, "I am not holding a weapon," was evolving into something far bigger. "I recognize you. I respect you. We are equals." A simple act of self-defense was becoming one of the most powerful social rituals in human history, and it hadn't even reached its final form yet. Because here's what should unsettle you. If the handshake could carry this much weight in the ancient world, carved into stone, painted into pottery, used to end wars and seal alliances between total strangers, what happens when this gesture leaves the battlefield completely and starts shaping something even bigger, the very structure of human society itself? You are not going to want to miss what comes next. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me. Because what's next reveals exactly how a simple grip of the hand became one of the most powerful symbols humanity has ever created. Now imagine a world with no paper, no ink contracts, no lawyers, no notarized signatures, no court system waiting to enforce a broken promise. If you made a deal in this world, there was only one place that agreement actually lived: inside another human being's word. And words, as every ancient trader, chieftain, and warlord knew, could vanish the instant it became convenient to forget them. So how do you seal something that isn't written down? How do you make a promise unbreakable when there's no piece of paper to prove it ever existed? You put it in the body. You make the agreement physical. That's exactly what the handshake became. Two merchants meeting at a crossroads to trade goods worth a season's survival. Two rival clans agreeing to stop raiding each other's land. Two former enemies standing on a battlefield still slick with the cost of war, choosing for now to stop. None of it was written down. All of it was sealed the same way. Hand gripping hand, in front of witnesses who would remember exactly what they saw, because that's the terrifying brilliance of it. A handshake performed in public wasn't private. It was a declaration. Everyone watching became a witness. If you broke that agreement later, it wasn't just your word against theirs. It was your reputation against an entire community that had seen you grip another person's hand and promise something with your whole body engaged in the vow. To break a handshake was to announce yourself as a liar in front of everyone who mattered. That kind of pressure didn't just seal deals. It built entire economies, entire diplomatic systems, entire fragile peace agreements between people who, only years earlier, had been trying to kill each other. But here's where the story deepens, because not every culture on Earth chose the same gesture to carry this weight. Picture two very different worlds, existing at the same time, solving the exact same problem in opposite ways. In parts of the ancient East, respect was often shown by lowering the body. A bow, a bent knee, the head dropped toward the ground. It was a gesture soaked in hierarchy. Someone lower, someone higher. A visible, physical acknowledgement of rank. Now picture the handshake standing right next to that. No bowing head, no lowered eyes, no one dropping beneath the other. Just two people standing at full height, gripping hands at the exact same level. Feel the difference. A bow says, "I acknowledge your position above mine." A handshake says something far more dangerous in a world built on kings, emperors, and rigid class systems. Says, "Right now we are equal." That single idea made the handshake explosive. It wasn't just a greeting. It was a quiet physical rebellion against hierarchy itself, which is exactly why it spread so fast through cultures obsessed with trade, diplomacy, and shifting power. Merchants loved it because it made every deal feel balanced. No buyer above the seller, no seller beneath the buyer. Diplomats loved it because it let rival nations meet without either side appearing to submit to the other. Even soldiers standing on opposite sides of a battlefield one day could grip hands the next and signal something almost unthinkable. We are not enemies in this moment. We are equals negotiating peace. Think about how much power that put into a single gesture. A king shaking the hand of another king wasn't just being friendly. He was making a public statement that neither ruler bowed to the other. A soldier shaking the hand of a former enemy wasn't just relief that the fighting was over. It was a declaration that, for this moment, they stood as equals, not conquerors and conquered. This is why the handshake started appearing everywhere. Trust needed to be proven instantly and publicly. Sealing trade deals in bustling marketplaces. Confirming treaties between kingdoms that had spent generations at war. Welcoming strangers into military camps where one wrong move could mean death. Marking the beginning, or the end, of alliances that would shape the fate of entire regions. And yet, across the rest of the world, other cultures were building their own systems of trust, completely different from the handshake, but carrying the exact same emotional weight. In parts of the Pacific and Polynesia, some cultures greeted each other by pressing noses or foreheads together, an intimate act that required standing close enough to feel another person's breath. Trust wasn't proven with an empty hand. It was proven by allowing someone into your most vulnerable physical space. In parts of the ancient Middle East and Mediterranean, kissing the cheek became a mark of welcome and familial bond, again requiring closeness that could easily be dangerous with the wrong person. Every culture, independently, arrived at the same terrifying realization. Trust has to be proven physically because words alone were never enough. But look closely at what made the handshake different from almost all of them. Nose presses required intimacy. Cheek kisses required closeness bordering on affection. Bows required someone to accept a lower position. The handshake required none of that. It required something rarer. It required both people to disarm their most dangerous weapon at the exact same moment, in full public view as equals. That combination, safety, equality, and public accountability, wrapped into a single 2-second motion, is exactly why the handshake began outpacing nearly every other greeting custom on the planet. It wasn't the most intimate gesture in human history. It wasn't the most elaborate, but it may have been the most efficient trust machine ever invented by human hands. And once something proves that powerful, it doesn't stay confined to marketplaces and battlefields. It doesn't stay locked inside one region, one culture, one era. It spreads. It crosses oceans. It crosses empires. It attaches itself to explorers, traders, and conquerors moving across the globe, carried in the one tool every human being already owns, their own hands. And that single detail raises a question that should genuinely unsettle you. If the handshake was born from ancient survival and shaped by ancient hierarchies, how did it end up becoming the single most recognized greeting on planet Earth, used in boardrooms, sports arenas, and presidential summits, thousands of years after the danger that created it was supposed to be gone? Because the answer to that question is where this story becomes truly global and truly unexpected. What's coming next is about to show you exactly how one ancient survival instinct conquered the entire modern world. Follow that gesture out of the ancient world and something remarkable happens. It doesn't fade. It doesn't stay buried in old trade routes and forgotten treaties. It moves. It travels with merchants crossing deserts, with sailors crossing oceans no one had dared cross before. It rides along on the same ships carrying spices, silk, and gold, because trust, it turns out, was the most valuable cargo of all. Every new port, every new culture, every new negotiation between strangers who shared no language, needed the same thing the ancient world had already discovered. A way to prove instantly, without a single word, I mean you no harm. By the time European powers began expanding their reach across the globe, through trade, conquest, and diplomacy, the handshake came with them. Wherever contracts needed sealing between men who trusted paper less than they trusted a grip, the gesture followed. Wherever colonial powers and local rulers faced each other across a table, deciding the fate of nations, hands met in the middle. And once it took hold in the language of European commerce and diplomacy, it spread with a force almost impossible to stop. Business itself became unthinkable without it. Think about how strange that actually is. In a world now built on written contracts, notarized signatures, legal witnesses, and binding documents, a world where every word of an agreement can be typed, printed, and filed, the handshake never disappeared. It should have. Logically, it should have been replaced entirely by ink and law. And yet, to this day, no boardroom deal feels complete without it. No merger, no negotiation, no multi-million-dollar agreement is considered truly sealed until two executives stand up, lean across a table, and grip hands in front of cameras. Why? Because paper can be forged. Paper can be misread. But a handshake performed in public in front of witnesses carries something a signature never fully replicates. The same primal weight it carried thousands of years ago on a dangerous stretch of ancient road. And business wasn't the only place it took root. Step onto a modern battlefield of a different kind. A sports arena, roaring with tens of thousands of fans. Watch two athletes who spent the last several hours trying to physically dominate each other. Boxers who tried to knock each other unconscious. Football players who slammed into each other at full force. Now watch what happens the moment the final whistle blows. They shake hands. Think about how strange that is if you step back far enough. Total physical conflict, followed instantly by the exact same gesture ancient warriors once used to signal a battlefield truce. The handshake became the universal symbol that says, the competition is over and respect remains. Now scale that up even further. Picture two world leaders, representing nations with the power to shape the fate of millions, standing before a wall of international cameras. Everything about the moment is calculated. The suits, the flags, the careful diplomatic language chosen word by word. And yet, the entire meeting is often defined by one single image, the handshake. Historians and journalists have obsessed over presidential handshakes for decades. How long they lasted, how firm the grip was, who pulled whom closer, who let go first. Entire news cycles have exploded over a handshake that lasted a fraction of a second too long, or ended a fraction of a second too fast. Why does something so small carry that much weight on a global stage? Because on some primal level, everyone watching still understands exactly what it means. Two people capable of ending each other through the forces they command, choosing publicly, physically, to stand as equals. The handshake had become one of the most powerful nonverbal messages on Earth. And then, in 2020, it nearly vanished overnight. A virus swept across the planet, and suddenly the very thing that made the handshake so powerful, direct physical contact between strangers, became the exact thing public health officials were begging people to avoid. The handshake, refined over thousands of years as a symbol of trust, was suddenly reclassified as a potential threat. Not from a hidden blade this time, from an invisible one. Offices banned it. Airports discouraged it. World leaders who once measured their power in the strength of their grip were now bumping elbows, tapping feet, waving awkwardly from 6 feet away. For a moment, it seemed possible that thousands of years of tradition might simply end, replaced by safer, touchless alternatives born out of necessity. And yet, as restrictions lifted and the world slowly began returning to something resembling normal, something telling happened. The elbow bumps faded. The awkward waves became rare. And the handshake, the same ancient gesture born from a fear of hidden weapons, came back. Why? Because no amount of digital communication, no video call, no text message, no emoji, has ever managed to replicate what happens in that single second of physical contact between two people. A handshake carries warmth, pressure, presence, something a screen simply cannot transmit, no matter how advanced technology becomes. Even now, in an age of digital contracts, virtual boardrooms, and negotiations conducted entirely through video calls, the handshake refuses to disappear. Deals still get shaken on in spirit, even over distance. Executives still stand up and extend a hand the moment they meet in person, even after months of working together only through a screen. Something in us still craves that ancient proof, physical, undeniable, human. Because somewhere deep inside every person who reaches out their hand today, an ancient instinct still whispers the same message it whispered on that dangerous road thousands of years ago. I am not holding a weapon. I am choosing to trust you. And that raises one final unsettling question, one that reaches far beyond history, far beyond tradition, straight into the world you live in right now. If a single gesture born out of fear and survival could outlast empires, wars, revolutions, and even a global pandemic, what does it say about us that in a world racing toward artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and touchless everything, we still instinctively reach out our hands to prove that we can be trusted? Because the story of the handshake isn't really about hands at all. It's about what happens next, when this ancient ritual collides head-on with the future that may not need touch to survive. So the next time you meet someone new, a business partner, a stranger on the street, someone whose hand reaches toward yours without a second thought, pause just for a moment before you take it. Because you are not performing a simple formality. You are stepping into a ritual older than the nation you live in, older than the language you speak, older than almost every custom you practice without question. Thousands of years ago, that same motion could have gotten someone killed. Two strangers standing on a dangerous road, each one silently deciding, is this the moment I trust a total stranger with my life? An open hand meant everything. A closed one could mean the end. From that razor's edge of fear and survival, humanity built something extraordinary. A gesture refined across empires and battlefields, carved into ancient stone, sealed into treaties that shaped the fate of nations. A signal so powerful it could stop wars, seal fortunes, and declare, without a single word, that two people, no matter their rank or power, stood as equals. Think about that the next time a hand reaches toward yours. Somewhere buried in that simple motion is the ghost of every ancient traveler who ever gambled their life on a stranger's intentions. Every warrior who chose peace over vengeance. Every king who refused to bow, and every peasant who refused to kneel, meeting instead at the same level, hand to hand. What began as a silent way of saying, "I come in peace," became something no war, no revolution, and no pandemic has ever fully erased. A ritual so deeply wired into who we are that even now, in a world of screens, algorithms, and artificial intelligence, we still instinctively reach out flesh and bone to prove we can be trusted. Because that's the real secret hiding inside stories like this one. The smallest, most ordinary actions in our daily lives, the ones we never stop to question, often carry the oldest, most dangerous, most human stories of all. So here's the question that should stay with you long after this video ends. If something as simple as a handshake carries this much hidden history, what other everyday habit are you performing right now, without realizing it's actually an ancient survival instinct in disguise? Because the truth is, nearly everything you do has a hidden origin, and I'm going to keep uncovering them. If you want to know which ordinary moment we expose next, make sure you're subscribed, because the next hidden origin might be something you do every single day without ever asking why.